This is DateLine with CFJ. Headline news with a little snark thrown in. DateLine. The Oval Office. The Commander-in-Chief of all of the military, Barack Obama, was on his famous phone this week with a personal one-on-one conversation with the President of Mexico, Enrique Peña Nieto. Do you think that he asked for our man in uniform to be returned, since all video and audio evidence proves that Sergeant Andrew Tamaresi simply made a wrong turn at the border? Obama did not even mention Andrew in the lengthy conversation.
Say what?
You heard me right. With the immense power of the United States over a dependent sister country like Mexico, Obama could have demanded Andrew be released ASAP, and you can bet that Nieto would have had him on the next plane out of there. So I guess that President Obama, who once said,
"The United States of America does not ever leave our men and women in uniform behind,"
doesn't count unless you are a soldier like Bergdahl, who deserted his fellow soldiers, denounced our military and our country, and also converted to Islam.
أشهد أن
DateLine, Washington, D.C. As the impeachable offense, otherwise known as the IRS scandal, a.k.a.
not even a smidgen of corruption,
explodes on Capitol Hill, daily revelations make it more transparent that this is a White House imploding before our eyes. What most people don't know is that before Nixon resigned, the Congress, in bipartisan cooperation, did draw up articles of impeachment against the president. One of the articles was the abuse by the Oval Office using the IRS to target its enemies. Sound familiar? And now, after the IRS claimed that they lost the emails of Take the Fifth Lois after a hard drive crash, they then claim that they lost the emails of 6 other IRS workers that just so happened to be under investigation also. As soon as all the TV analysts had experts on that all or most of the data can be retrieved from a crashed hard drive, they now claim the drives were destroyed.
Surprise, surprise, surprise!
DateLine. Reality. Back in 2010, the Tea Party warned the rest of America about the disaster coming with Obamacare. And after the catastrophic rollout of the website and ensuing 9 million plus Americans losing the, quote, health plans they like, unquote, the Tea Party was right.
Here we go.
Glenn Beck warned 3 years ago about an Islamic caliphate growing in the Middle East, and he was mocked by the so-called liberal intelligentsia.
Don't!
As we see with the ISIS terror army sweeping through Iraq, Beck was right.
Here we go.
Sarah Palin was called dumb, and Mitt Romney mocked for his so-called Cold War thinking when they both warned of Russia invading Ukraine. They were both obviously right, as Putin has captured the Crimea.
Here we go.
My question to the left is, when will you all pull your head out? DateLine.
With champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Our celebrity Preezy has had such a successful 5.5 years
Say what?
that he has traveled the world more than any other president in history. The most transparent administration in history only divulged the cost of these trips of fancy because they were sued through the Freedom of Information Act. The Obama's rich and famous lifestyle puts the taxpayers on the hook for over $228,000 per Air Force One flight hour. Repeat, we pay for Barack's and Muchel's 5-star travel extravaganza and their entourage at $228,000 per hour just for the flight, not to mention the other planes, trains, and automobiles that go along with the top-of-the-line hotel stays. I guess Barry needs these long excursions outside the U.S. after setting an all-time record of 54 straight months of unemployment above 7.3%. I mean, why not fly halfway around the world to take selfies with British Prime Minister Cameron. DateLine. Harlem. 84-year-old Charlie Rangel is facing a tough opponent in his primary after 44 years in the House. Since his district has changed from being a majority of African Americans to Hispanics having the majority in this cycle, he faces an uphill battle against Dominican-born and New York State Senator Adriano Espaillat. You mean Democrat voters only vote ethnicity and don't factor in that Rangel is a known tax cheat who was censured for ethics by Congress, and only vote for the color of the candidate's skin?
Say it ain't so, Joe.
DateLine. Washington National Cathedral. The Reverend Cameron Partridge, who will be a guest speaker, will be the first openly transgender priest to preach from Canterbury pulpit at the cathedral. The Reverend Gene Robinson, the first openly gay Episcopal bishop, will preside over the service. It's part of the cathedral's celebration of LGBT Pride Month. The service will also include readings and prayers from the members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. I wonder how many snaps that gets.
I think this one deserves the new and improved 2 snaps, a twist, and a kiss.
DateLine. Egypt's criminal court docket. In 2 separate criminal complaints, Egyptian lawmakers have charged Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton with conspiring with the Muslim Brotherhood. President Obama has been named as an accessory to crimes committed by the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, with the charge reading that Obama, quote, cooperated, incited, and assisted the armed elements of the Muslim Brotherhood in the commission of crimes, unquote. Some of these crimes include murder, rape, torture, extortion, bribery, enslavement, and the ethnic cleansing of Egyptian Coptic Christians. According to one of the criminal charges, Hillary Clinton was found to have been working with ousted Muslim Brotherhood's President Morsi's wife in attempting to overthrow the current leader of Egypt. She has openly admitted that her relationship with the Clintons dates back to the 1980s, and she has hundreds of recorded telephone conversations with Hillary and other White House officials. There is also a charge that Obama and Hillary attempted to bribe the Muslim Brotherhood with $8 billion to turn over part of the Sinai Peninsula to Hamas in order for them to launch attacks against Israel. Can you imagine that the Egyptians might save America by doing what the GOP is too scared to do? And that's DateLine for this day, Monday, June 23rd, 2014.